Hello, hello, all you beautiful simmers out there. Thanks for stopping by. In this video, as the title says, it's to hopefully help optimize your game and help it run smoother. If you are having issues right now with your game, obviously that's probably why you're here. Hopefully you'll find, I say hopefully a lot, I don't know why, but yeah, I just, nothing's guaranteed, right? So hopefully you'll find something in this video that will help you out. So some of the things I do talk about in this video will be kind of repeat of some other videos I made. Of course, when I start talking, my throat's been fine all morning and all of a sudden it just clogs right up. So excuse me for a sec. Oh my gosh, I think I need a glass of water. Oh, and it's boiling hot, by the way. I don't have an air conditioner right now, so I just got this fan blowing on me. Anyways, I have all the excuses in the world right now, okay? I was up really early. The list goes on. I'm a little tired too.
Not complaining.
Okay, so anyway.
But
I'm going to go over some of the tips first, and then I'm going to go over the more extensive part of this video, which is getting to know your user files and things you can do with them and how you can keep them clean and maintain them, kind of thing. And also the major one, the CC that you may have. This is for people that haven't even, maybe never tried optimizing their game yet. People that are new to The Sims 3, or people that know a little bit, but maybe not a lot.
Okay, this is a bad game.
First, though, going right into it, there is one thing. If you have no reason to have your internet connected, I would suggest just unplugging that cord from your computer.
Should I unplug it, or do you want me to just leave it, or...
And turning off your internet while you play, that's one major thing. And I know from past experiences caused issues on my older computers. Not so much anymore, but if you're a streamer, you're not going to be able to do that, obviously. Okay, so that's one anyways that you could try. Keeping your computer healthy, of course, is a must, especially with this game. So you want to keep clearing out your temporary files, your temporary cache files in Windows, and keeping your recycle bin clean, and making sure you're not getting any malware or viruses, being careful on the internet and, all that jazz. Keeping your drivers up to date, and your Windows up to date. Playing in shorter sessions. Now that's for a lot of people that don't know about that. They'll just play their save continuously for hours upon hours. And I've done this before many times, and I used to get a lot of crashes, and that wasn't just the only reason why, but it doesn't mean you have to stop playing. Just, save your game, and you don't use just the save, use the save as and rename it. It's good to keep a few of your saves as a backup anyway. Close it out. You could even restart your computer or whatever and then go back in. That helps if you are having some issues. It's going to be a lot of trial and error on your part as a player.
With a little more trial and error, there's no end to what we can do.
So I wish there was just one magic, button that we could press.
There is no magic.
Yeah, not going to happen with this game. Anyway, so yeah, try that. Playing in shorter sessions, remembering to saving your game often is really helpful. Actually, you can get the NROS saver from the NROS site. Of course, I'll leave all the links and stuff that I'm going to talk about in this video will be left in the description as usual. Yeah, so Saver is a really good program to have because it reminds you to save. You can set it for every half hour or every hour, whatever works for you. Sometimes it depends on what I'm doing. Sometimes I'll have it for every hour. Sometimes I'll have it for every half hour. And then you can easily just save your game rename it every time, so you can rename it in numbers. Another thing, of course, is clearing your cache files. You can do this manually, or you can use Regal Saver. And Regal Saver Cleaner is a really good program to keep your save maintained anyways. So clearing your cache files, I'll go over more of this when I go over the user files, but you don't have to do this every single time. But if you are having issues or you're troubleshooting, it's good to clear it. So what's nice about this program is that it just does everything automatically. You don't have to go in and do it all manually, and you can just check whatever files you want cleaned. And like I said, I'll go over what all of these are a little later when I'm going over the user files. There's also the cleaning option. So what you do is pick a save that you want to clean. Mostly like the newer, if you've got newer saves, they're not going to really need it. If you've got an older save in there and it's kind of big, this is a good way to keep it from bloating and stuff and maintain. One thing I do want to mention though is that it's not going to do like a real deep clean on it. So if you've got like say a huge save, like you've been playing generation after generation, and you know it's getting clunky and you're worried that it's going to go corrupt, there is a different thing that you can do, and I do have a video and I'll leave that link below. So it's like basically saving your save file, so it's a much deeper clean, and you can do that with the Sims 3 package editor. And what I suggest, because I do have a couple of saves that I've had for years. Yeah, like what I've done is I've gone in and I've done the deep clean. And then if I have the save in here in my save file, then of course I will use this often to keep it maintained. But as far as your save file too, you want to make sure you just got like a few saves in there. You don't want too many because that can hinder the performance of the game as well. So 4 maybe at the max, I would say, and it depends on how big these files are too. So that's a little bit about Regal Saver. This isn't a tutorial on this program though, and I do plan to make one later on. Otherwise, I will be here all day. So let me just see my list here. In-game settings. Okay, and we'll go into that too. I'll show you a lot of in-game settings in the options there that can help your game as well. Resetting everything every so often, every so often resetting your whole town can help. Sometimes I reset my lot, you know, when things start getting a little laggy or whatever, resetting things. Yeah, that can really help. And you can do that with NROS Master Control. Yeah, some stuttering is normal. Of course, like if you have NROS, Overwatch and all that, and they're working in the background trying to keep your game optimized in the way that they do have a schedule. So I know for one is 3 a.m. every night it'll go through and, you know, delete vehicles and turn off TVs and radios and clean up stuck Sims, and you'll notice a little bit of stuttering and lag during that time. So that's normal. You can also use the Sims 3 Redux compressorizer program, and that's a great program for keeping your custom content files, decreasing the size of them a bit. So using that and merging them is really important to keep your save file from bloating. There's, you know, really good programs for merging, of course, and most of you already know that. So you have some choices out there. So CC Magic, Sims 3 package editor, and then there's the Sims 3 mod organizer as well. And I'm a big CC Magic fan, and then turned into a Sims 3 package editor fan for merging as well. But I've recently stopped using CC Magic, and I'm merging over to transitioning over to Sims 3 mod organizer. For the Sims 3 mod organizer, I do plan on making a tutorial on how to do that and how to set it up and how to use it, whatever, later on. So that's a future video that I want to work on. Okay, so anyways, what else? Oh yeah, keeping your household in your game, keeping your household inventory, obviously in your game, not in your house in real life, but it's always a good idea too. But yeah, no, keeping your household inventory clean is really good too, like making sure that doesn't get jam-packed with items and stuff. I remember the first time hearing that years ago, and I went into one of my long-term saves, and oh my gosh, I couldn't believe all the stuff I accumulated. And I was like, oh, no wonder I'm getting, you know, so much lag and everything. Like if that's part of the reason, that's got to be it. Anyways, yeah, so keeping that inventory empty will help your game as well. So that's some of the tips. Now, for one of the most important things you can do is keeping your user file files maintained. Oh, right. So to navigate to your Sims 3 document user folder, I keep a copy of the Sims 3 folder on my desktop just so it's easier to navigate to, obviously, for easy navigation. So I'm going to start from the top and work my way through these files, and I'm going to try and go as quickly as I can. My user files are a huge mess, mostly because, well, for the sake of this video, and also because I'm transferring or transitioning over my CC to a different merging program as well. But anyways, this is one of the most important things of keeping your game optimized and running smooth is maintaining these files. Collections is, pretty much what it says. It's collections. So whatever collections you create in game, they'll all be stored in this folder here. If you have the lifetime collections helper, try disabling it and see if that helps with lag at all, because there are some players that reported when they did disable it, a lot of the lag that they were experiencing went away. Try using it in shorter time periods, and remembering to turn it off might help your game a lot. Content patch, this is a really important folder, and I don't usually have the .package file in here because I convert my store items to package files. So I put this file in my mods overrides folder, which you should do too if that's what you do or how you install your items. So this has patches for broken store items. I think the last patch was in like 2013. Anyways, this is an important file to have either way that you install your items. Installing them through the launcher, you're going to want to keep this package file in this folder and you don't want to delete it. As far as package files, if all your store items are installed as package files, I'm just not 100% sure if you even need this package file, but I keep mine just in case. I haven't tested that out yet. So it's a good idea to keep it anyways. So yeah, put it in your overrides folder. Okay, so your current game, I have a neat little trick. So obviously this is your current save that you're playing in game. There's some files that will generate for that particular save here. They just regenerate whichever game that you're currently playing and disappear when you're not playing. But if you're in your game and you're going to save it and you end up in that nightmarish saving loop and that never ends and you're ready to just crash your game, what you can do, you want to save your progress, is you can come in here and just copy all those files in here, and don't quit your game. Like, do this while the game's running, and then go back to your saves file. This is where all your saves are for your game. You want to create a new folder in here, and then you can just call it .sims3. You don't have to name it right away. And then you're just going to want to paste all those files in that folder. And then you're going to want to just quit your game, then come back in here and make sure that these files are not in here anymore. Delete them if they are in there. And then go back to your new folder that you just made, and then you can name it. Just don't name it the same name as the actual save game that you originally have in there. Put a number at the end of it or something. And then you should have all your progress saved doing it that way. And then custom music, pretty self-explanatory. This is where you put all your music that you want your Sims to listen to in game. You just want to make sure that you don't have too many of them in here, and you want to make sure they're all in MP3 format. You might get issues where the song doesn't show up in your game, and it could be that the bitrate for the actual file is too high. So you want to keep the bitrate at a lower file size. Okay, and then so DC backup. Oh my goodness. So I did this for the sake of the video. I wouldn't normally do this, but I installed a object from the Sims 3 store, a third-party object. I installed it through the launcher. Okay, so first of all, your CC merge, that's attached to your premium store items. Very important package file that you do not want to delete, or you'll lose all your custom content. So this package actually just fixes your premium content. So the EA one that automatically generates from EA, whatever that one, it's not going to be fully updated. And a lot of times the package file will go corrupt, or your Sims 3 packs will corrupt while you're installing them through the launcher. And this is why I stay away from Sims 3 packs and use package files. But you can get the known as CC merged, which is fully updated and is a remedy for the fixes for your premium content. If you're installing package files or converting this premium content to package files, you're going to want known as CC merge, and I keep a copy of that one in in this folder, in the DC backup folder, and in overrides as well. So also with this folder, everything that you install through the launcher will duplicate in package files and in this folder. And if you don't know about that and you go in, you might see a ton of different package files if you've installed a lot of stuff through your launcher. So you don't need to keep those files in this folder. What it does do, like if you are wanting to export like a build from your game and you've used some of these items that you've installed in that build, the game will look in this folder for those items. So if it doesn't see the package file in here, it will default to a regular item instead. So that's one reason you might want to keep some of your package files in here, but if not, there's really no reason to. So what you could do though, for your .dbc files, which I'll get to a bit later, but your third-party Sims 3 packs, you're not going to know which is which because you're going to have store items in here plus your third party. Your store items, ones you don't want to do this with because it's not going to work because they're encrypted. So if you want to say clean out your launcher, you're having some trouble with your launcher, some of your programs in there or some of your items in there, whatever, you just want to clean it out. And without having to reinstall everything, a good way to do that is to come in here. And if you have Sims 3 package editor, what you can do is to see if it is a Sims 3 third-party package, you can open it up in Sims 3 package editor just to rename it and know exactly what it is. So what I've done here, so I went and installed a certain object from the store, obviously, and this is it here. And it generated 2 files. See, what it'll do is it'll generate also whatever is attached to that one file. So it generated a pattern file, which is actually the bigger file. So you can open it up in Sims 3 package editor. Like I said, come down to icon, and this is the pattern here. So this will automatically show up in your create a style in game in CAS. What you can do is just rename it and call it floral pattern. And then this one here, this is the actual object, and it's really tiny, so you can't even see it, the thumbnail. So if you click on the tag thumb, it'll show you what it is, and it is a piano. You can just rename that, floral piano or something. And then what you can do is, cut both of these out of here, place them in your mods packages folder, like wherever you put your CC, and then you can go back to your launcher and uninstall it, and then it'll be in game. So that's one way of doing that. Then you can just delete them out of here as well. Removing a lot of your items from here, keeping it fully clean will help your game run a lot smoother as well. So going to DC cache, this is where all your third-party Sims 3 packs and all your store Sims 3 packs is stored in EBC files. This is your store content, and DBC, this is your third-party content. So if you delete these, you delete all your custom content. But if you're wanting to just get rid of everything and reinstall everything because you want to go from Sims 3 packs to package files, you can just delete all these. There's also a way you can troubleshoot these files as well. If you're not going to that extreme and you just want to troubleshoot, but I'm not going to go into that. If you search it, you'll find it on Google. Okay, so your missing depth.idx, this just regenerates every time you delete it. There might be another one in here, dcc.end. You can delete that too. They just regenerate, like I said. This one, missing depths, it generates if there's custom content that loads that's maybe missing something or broken. For your downloads, this is also where when you install anything in Sims 3 packs through your launcher, it's going to put a copy of the Sims 3 pack in here. So if you install it through the launcher, if you just download it from the store, this is where you're going to find a copy of that Sims 3 pack. So this is where normally you would just, if you downloaded it from the store and didn't install it, you could just double click on this and then it'll install through your launcher. Once it's installed in your game, you can back all your Sims 3 packs up or delete them, whatever you want to do. This is also where you put all your files if you're using CC Magic. As far as all these other folders are concerned, you can go ahead and delete these. You don't need them. These are attached to your store account. This one here, your email.bin one, if you delete it, it'll just log you out of your store account and it'll regenerate once you've logged back in. Okay, and then exports. This is everything you export from Create a Sim or Edit Town will show up in here. here, you can remove all of those after. You can put them in another file for backup. Featured items. This one is super annoying. Usually, yeah, you'll see a bunch of images in here, and if you're not aware of this folder and it's been a while, this can accumulate quite a few thumbnails that will cause a lot of issues in your game. So this is EA's way of promoting all the stuff they want to sell, and you basically, the only way you can stop it is by unwriting it, and I'll show you how to do that, or by using Regal Saber, either one. But I would suggest doing it this other way because you're not always going to want to clear your cache out every time. Therefore, it will accumulate a lot of these images, and you want to keep this empty when you go in to play your game. So what you can do is right click on it and go to properties, and then go to the security tab, and then you're going to want to click on where it says users. You're going to want to highlight it. Now in Windows 10 I think you have this option on the first page, but in Windows 11 you have to go to change permissions, so you have to click edit, and then you're going to want to come down to this bottom screen here, and where it says write, you're going to want to deny that. Just want to click where it says write and under deny, and then click apply, and then okay, and then those images won't be written into that folder every time. Okay, so IGA cache, this is linked to EA's marketing tool. If there is something in here, it regenerates anyways, and so that's linked to in-game kind of advertisements in that. Installed worlds, these are worlds that you install through the launcher. These aren't worlds that the game comes with. Then your library folder, if you install Sims 3 packs like lots or households as Sims 3 packs or as package files, either way, this is where they're going to end up. And when you're installing them as package files, of course, this is where you put them. If you install them through the launcher, this is where they show up. And so what you can do, it depends on how you play your game as well. So once you place your lots and whatever you have in here in a certain save, you don't need to keep them in this folder. You can take them out. They'll still be in your game. So you could just keep this as a backup. But if you're like me and you have a lot of different saves and you play a lot of different ones randomly, you might end up accumulating a lot of stuff in here, and there's no point in really taking things out and putting them back in, especially if you're making new saves, because then they won't be in your library in game, obviously, if you take them out. So you would have to figure out how to manage this folder with how you play the game, obviously. Your mods folder, now this is kind of a big subject here, and this is really important because, you know, how you manage your CC and that, and how you install it or merge it is going to play a big factor on how your game runs. One thing is super, and I can't express that enough, important when you are downloading custom content. Before you put it in your game, you really need to check what the poly count is and if it's set on valid for random. So that's super important. I'm going to show you, and of course, like I said, links will be below for certain programs. So for my custom content, it's kind of disorganized right now. I still have all my custom content in this CC Magic folder, and this is all my packages, all the custom content that I haven't yet merged over to my mod organizer yet. So what you're going to want to do to check the poly count, there's two different ways, but I use both ways. So there's the Sims 3 package editor and then the Sims Resource Workshop. What you do is you take that file that you downloaded. If it's a Sims 3 pack, you're going to want to convert that into a package file, which I'm not going to go into because I've made a few videos on that, and you can find them in my Sims 3 guides playlist on my channel. But so once you have them in package files, though, you can open them up in Sims 3 package editor and check for the poly count. So let me just find hair. I think it's Nusi. I love Nusi's hair. I have quite a bit of Nusi's. Okay, so I'll just pick the first one here, Love and Kiwi. And so I'm going to open that up. And what you're going to do under tag here is find Geom. So Geom, and that's it here. There's going to be a few of them. So what I do is I find the one that has the most, like the largest number, and that's usually what the poly count is for that particular item. There's another thing here though too, is that if you're not a modder, you're probably not going to have wrappers or plugins. You're going to need a plugin, and one of the particular plugin that you're going to need is the model viewer plugin. What you do is, like I said, I'm going to leave the link below for the particular file that you want. I'm going to open it up. So I'm going to show you how to install it and download it and install it. So here is the link to download the wrapper. And so it does include all of these wrappers. So you just want to click this link down here and it'll download in a zip file. You can just extract it all by navigating to your Sims 3 pack editor install files, which is in program files, S3PE, and then you can just extract it into there, and all the files that are in that zip program will just go to where they need to go. And so that's how you install plugins. And then the reason why you need, here, let me just close all this stuff. The reason why you need to have that plugin is because otherwise you won't be able to open up the item and check the poly count. So once you have those installed, like I said, you just go to one of these geomes, you find the one that has the most, just highlight it and then right click and go to geome preview at the very bottom. And you'll see the poly count on the left here under vertices. I don't know how to pronounce that, but it'll say polygons, and this is 11,532. So it's not bad. By rule of thumb, they say for hair CC it should be under 30K, but then there are some people that say, depending on your system and your computer and all that, 13K is safer. So anything under 13K, no matter what it is safe. Is all right. So this one is, like I said, it says 11,532. So it is under 30K and it is under 13K. I like to stick around the 13K mark. I don't think I go as far as 30K. Although those hairs, they do really nice on your Sims and that, but a lot of poly counts that are around this amount look really nice too. What I usually do is I'll just close this and I double check that amount. I'll open it up in the Sims 3 resource workshop as well. So you want to go to create new project, and then you want to go down to new import and then click next. You want to browse to where that custom content is. So, you also want to make sure that beside file name down here that the drop down is set to package. Otherwise they won't show up. So I'm just going to navigate to that same custom content, new C. So it was the first one there. Open that up and it'll ask, is this a Sims 3 or a Sims 4 package? Just say no. And then here you can just go next, and finish, because we're not creating anything. We're just checking on something. And so it's going to load its meshes. And so here you want to go over to the right here under these tabs here and go to mesh. And then under group 1, you'll see the poly count. So it's beside, again, that word vertices, if that's how you pronounce it. It's 11,532 faces, which means poly counts. And so then you know that that's the correct number. And so this is what the hair looks like with 11,000 poly count. It's actually really nice still. Okay, so that's how you check the poly count. Now, there is one more really important thing that you want to do. Let's just close this. Back in Sims 3 package editor. So this is where the issue comes in with your custom content. Say you download something and install it and you didn't check the poly count, and say it has like a ridiculous amount of poly count, like over 30K, and it's also set on valid for random. You're going to have a bunch of Sims in your town running around with that same hair and that amount of poly count, which could ultimately corrupt your save file, and it can actually go as far as frying your hard drive. So you really want to check this and make sure. It's really important. So open that piece of CC back up in Sims 3 package editor, and then you're going to want to find CASP, the tag CASP. You're just going to want to highlight it and then go down on the very bottom and click on grid. And then this window will pop up. Then what you're going to want to do is find clothing category, drop that down, and you're going to want to find in this list down closer to the bottom will be valid for random. And so for this piece, it does say false, but if it says true, you're going to want to turn this to false. So then you can just double click it and it'll change. So yeah, you want this set on false, and that way only your sim will be wearing that hair, or whatever sim that you make, you have control over that. And then you're going to want to click commit and save. and then close out. And then that piece of CC is good to go, and you can put that in your game and not worry about it. For more ways that can help optimize your game, make sure to check out my Sims 3 guide playlist. You'll find a bunch of videos that all work together in an attempt to make The Sims 3 run at its best. Starting with this one, optimizing your game files, converting Sims 3 pack to package files, NRAS performance mods and settings, keeping your precious save files from corruption, installing store content without the launcher, and much more. All right, so that's all I have to say for the mods folder for now. Okay, so down recorded videos. Obviously, those are videos you record in your game. You don't need to have anything in here. You can remove those as well. Keep that file clean. Saved outfits. Those are the outfits that you create in CAS as presets. All those outfits will be saved in here. It's a good idea to clean that out or make sure it doesn't get too full. Save Sims. These are all the Sims that you've saved in CAS or that you've installed through the launcher. Again, with Save Sims, once you place them in one of your save games, you don't need to have them in the folder, but if you want to keep them in your game for new saves and that, then you might want to keep them in here. Your downloaded sims.index is just a cache file. You can delete it. It will regenerate. For your saves file, this is obviously where you keep all your save games, and you want to keep this to a minimum. You can keep it up to maybe, 4 saves or so in here, depending on how big they are. Screenshots, same thing as in-game videos. They're in-game pictures you take, they'll be stored in this file, so you can just remove all of them, put them in a backup file if you want to keep them or delete them. Your SIGs cache, you can delete these. They will regenerate, but they are attached to your store account. It doesn't affect your game whatsoever if you delete those. Then your thumbnails, so these are Sims profile pictures and all that get generated every time you open up the game. It helps the game, keeping the cache files helps the game load up quicker. If you're having maybe glitches with the images in game, you can just delete them. They'll regenerate. You might notice a bit of a longer time for your game loading up. Your world cache files, you can delete all of those files as well, except if you're on Mac, you want to keep those files. Okay, so now for all these files underneath. So these are all cache files. Most of these you can just delete. Some of them you might not want to delete every time because keeping them will help your game load faster. The only times you really want to delete some of these files is if you're having issues or you're troubleshooting or you're doing a lot of install and uninstall of certain, items from your game and that. Now, if you really want to know what all these files are related to, I'll just bring up this image here, because if you're a geek like me, you might want to know. In any case, it's, safe to delete most of these. So for your options.ine, you don't want to delete that because that's your in-game settings, which I'm going to get to pretty quick here right after this. What you can do is back this file up, and that's what I do. I keep a copy of it on my desktop because when Nvidia updates their drivers, it changes it and then everything goes back to default. And then you can just copy and paste your backup to put all those settings back to where it was easily. The rest of these, like script errors and that, those are just logs from AirTrap that you can delete. So that brings me back to the Regal Saber. I'm just going to open that up. And now that you know what all those files are, you'll have a better idea of what you want to have deleted and what you don't want to have deleted. I have all of these checked except for my thumbnails because I like to be more in control of when I'm going to delete those. And all my log files too, I like to be in control of that just in case. But this is all up to you what you want deleted. It's not necessary to constantly clear out your cache though, like I said, unless you're having issues. For the featured items here, I have that checked. You don't have to have that checked if you disabled it manually, like I showed you earlier. So I just want to go back quickly and clarify because I feel like I just kind of skimmed through this really too quickly without explaining it properly. So if you don't have Regal Saber, you just don't want to, download it right now or use it. It is pretty much safe to delete all of these, but I would keep the options.ine because that's your in-game settings. As far as the cache files, you can just watch and see, how big they're getting and then determine from there if you want to delete them or not. Deleting them often will help your game, but you'll also notice when you do delete them that the game might not load up as quickly as usual because it has to regenerate all those files. But as far as like these script errors, these are NRAS error trap that keeps logs of everything that it does in the background of your game. So if you look here, this just shows you correction logs, and you can open this up with Notepad if you want, if you're curious. So I'm not sure exactly how to read this one. It's just showing exactly like everything it's gone ahead and done in the background to keep your game running well. It'll also have a list of all your mods that you have and that too. I'm not sure exactly why it's a script error or what's going on there, but I do know when I open up some of them, like this one for instance, when it says script error on the top, something's going on that I want to look into and maybe fix. I don't know, but a lot of the times these script errors have to do with mods that aren't playing nice with your game. I know when I look at this one, it's showing me that my acne mod is acting up. So I'm probably just going to get rid of it because I've actually been wanting to, I was kind of on the fence whether I wanted to keep it or not anyways, because it has caused issues in my game in the past. Maybe it needs an update or something. So I'm just going to get rid of it and see if it'll take care of these script errors that I'm getting right now. But yeah, if you are curious, that's what you can do, is just look through them if you want, or you can upload them to the NRAS site and they can decode it for you and tell you what's going on. Most of the time though, I have to be honest, I won't even look at them. I'll just get rid of them. But if I notice that they're coming back a lot, then I'll go in and see what's going on there. As far as this one here, your user preset. So these are all your patterns in that you save in creative style. You may want to keep that. I don't do that, so I just always delete that one. Also, you might get crash logs here too, and they have an extension XCPT. So if you've had any crashes, if you have the crash analyzer, it works better with version 167. It wasn't updated for version 169, I believe. I don't have any crash files right now, but if you have this program and you have 169, you can just open it up. You're going to get all these stupid messages. I just go through and click OK until they're gone, and it will tell you here what to look for, what's going on, or why your game crashed or whatever. A lot of times for me in the past, it was to do with custom content. I don't get that so much anymore because I've learned how to manage my CC. The crash analyzer is a good little program. And yeah, like I said, it worked better though with version 167. You don't get all those stupid pop-up windows, but it still works. It still works. All right, so I also wanted to go over something else really quick. I forgot to mention something with your DC backup. So this is where when you install everything with Sims 3 packs, it will keep a duplicate of that item as a package file in here. And so for those of you who like to export, build things in game and export them in that, the game is always going to look in here for those items if you've used them in that build. But it is really a good idea to keep this file clean. And in order to do that, I recommend converting everything to package files and using and installing them that way. And that way you avoid that issue, because once they're installed as package files, you don't have to worry, and you can just clear this folder out. And anytime you build something and export it, those items that you use will be there. That's what I forgot to say anyways. Okay, so for in-game options, your graphics settings here, you're just going to want to play around with these and see what works for you, because everybody's, graphic card and that these settings are going to work different for everybody. For me, I keep most of my settings on medium or low, except for my sim detail. I do have an RTX 2060 GPU, but these settings work well for me. I keep these two enabled as well. My resolution at my monitor's resolution, of course, and I keep it in windowed mode as well. Coming over to this one, advanced demographics. This controls what occults generate in your town. I usually keep most of these off, and I'll just keep pets on. I definitely keep horses off, and this all depends on what save that you're playing as well. Definitely celebrities I keep off, and I opt out of the celebrity system because I don't really like that. And enabling store progression, I use NRAS story progression and I really like it. I know a lot of people say, oh, stay away from it, it's bad for your game and all that. That all depends, I think. So for everyone, it's going to work differently. For me, it works great. And so this enabling EA story progression, this will just disable automatically when NRAS story progression is enabled in your game. For seasons, turning off some of the weather elements can help your game as well. For online, you can disable the online notifications. Coming over to general settings, you can disable your shop mode for lessons. Memories, a lot of memories that can accumulate in the game if you have this on, and it can take up a lot of the memory in your game. So disabling this would be good if you don't care about memories, or you can get a mod that will only keep important memories and that helps your game. Also, you can enable or disable interactive loading screens, and that's it for options. And that's a wrap for this video. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video and it helped you out in any way, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and if you have any other tips that you'd like to share, make sure to leave them in the comments below. And until next time, guys, have a good one.